Okay, so we're back on. Hi everybody, welcome to another live fly tying session here in Kilkenny with Piscari Fly. My name is Peter Driver, and over the next couple of hours we're going to be doing some fly tying, having a bit of a chat, and just passing away a couple of hours. So I had said during the week, or last week when we kind of did our last show last Sunday, that we were going to be covering some zonkers, minkies, different stuff like that. I've been asked a lot over the last couple of over the last couple of weeks and over the last while about using zonkers and minky strips, rabbit strips, and all that kind of stuff. So said we'd devote this show to tying the all that kind of stuff. Sorry, I just finished the set up there. Hi Robert Berry, hi Darius, hi Thomas, how he's all keeping. Graham Lonigan's back on there. How you going, Graham? Great to have you all back again. Friday night tonight. We said we'd do one night early because hopefully tomorrow night we'll be watching Ireland beat France, and you never know, get a bonus point. And hi Mark Robinson, hope you're keeping well. Hi Liam, Kieran Sherlock's on there, having a good evening. Yeah, not too bad now, Kieran. Bit depressed after that NERGC announcement there this evening. We can't even go for a shot now on Sunday morning. It's been a ritual in definitely my life since I was old enough to shoot a few pheasants, getting out on the 1st of November. As I say, I used to work for my dad. The only 2 days of the year I was guaranteed off was Christmas Day and the 1st of November. We never missed the 1st of November, so can't get out. The government won't let us. They'll let us walk our dogs within 5 kilometres of our home and stuff, but we're not allowed to go shooting. Hi Luca, how are you keeping? Hi Patrick, Declan Smith's on there as well. Hope you're all keeping well all over the country, lads. And happy Halloween to everybody for what it is. This year just keeps throwing up more and more great news. It's just, my God. Anyway, look we'll try and have a bit of fun tonight. Bit of a chat. Any questions along the way, please by all means shoot them across. Tonight we're going to be giving away some free tickets to Mount Juliet, free fishing permits. Huge thanks to Mount Juliet. They contacted me during the week and said if I wanted to give away a few free passes for next season, something to look forward to, guys. A full day's fishing in the Mount Juliet estate on the beautiful River Nore. So Paul Jenkins, good man. Look at you, he's on your first shoot tomorrow. No pheasant tails on Sunday, Tom Ankertel. Hopefully we'll get some kind of a shot in before Christmas, but sure, anyway, we'll see. But yeah, so we're going to give them away tonight. I'm going to figure out some way of doing that at some stage through the evening. Those 2 free passes. And don't forget, we still have our mystery box competition running. There's been a lot of, that's the size of, if anyone wants to see it now, they see it in my hands, get a bit more of an idea of the size of our mystery box. I have that thing packed with goodies. There's been a few clues already. I'm going to give a massive clue for that tomorrow. Any Tullamore Jew, geez, Eugene, I tell you now, it's getting close, it's getting near that time, alright. But I'm going to give a massive clue for that one tomorrow morning. And there's been 3 clues already, so you're going to have to remember those 3 clues. And first person to guess the correct value of that box, what the contents of that box, will win that box. We did it last year. It was a brilliant prize, and it was a bit of crack. So just to keep everyone's heads ticking over, or like Alan Lawless was saying, wrecking his head. So how you doing, Trevor? Hi Patrick. Sean Mars on there. Yeah, Dan O'Neill rang me today, Sean, and told me to give away a few tickets. So I got 2 there for tonight. Got a few more. Might save them for the Christmas special. We're going to have a big Christmas special this year. It's going to be a couple of hours long. We got some guest tyers coming in. We got some, we got a pretty cool evening planned. Starting to plan a pretty good stuff for our Christmas special. So more details about that. We won't even talk too much about that thing until maybe the end of November, middle of November. But next week we start with Nymphing November, which is going to be a whole month dedicated to nymph fishing, which will be covering patterns, materials, beads, hooks, tactics, leaders, setups. I'm going to go through all my setups. Everything I do, we're going to cover that over a 4-week period. It's going to take 4 weeks for us to cover it all, all the patterns and different things, techniques, rivercraft, all that kind of stuff. So that starts next Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. Don't miss it. But for tonight, we are going to tie. Hi Aidan Gill. Trevor Noon's on there as well. Hope you're all keeping well. Tonight we're going to tie some. Hi Tom, how are you keeping? Tom O'Connor's on there. And so we're going to tie some zonkers. Okay, so we're going to try some minkies and stuff like that. Hi, Jerry. Tony Daly's on there as well. How you doing, Tony? Kevin Collins. Any more clues? Clues will be tomorrow, Kevin. Tomorrow morning. Christoph, how you doing? Tomorrow morning, I'm going to give away a big clue for that. So if you have been following that competition about the mystery box, you remember your clues from the last couple of days. Tomorrow could be crucial. Tomorrow could be it could be one tomorrow. If someone has those 4 clues in their head, and hi Michael Callaghan, how are you keeping? If you have those 4 clues in your head, or 3 clues I've already given out, and tomorrow's clue could someone could get it tomorrow. So exciting times. It's worth winning. Trust me, it's worth winning. Okay, so let's get on to some flight time here. I say if you have any questions, please shoot them across. Say hello. Halloween weekend, and we're confined to the house as usual. Anyway, sure, look at what can we do. 2020 just keeps giving. So what I'm going to do first is just a very simple Zonker streamer. Hi, Pat Kennedy. Hope you're well. A Zonker streamer. This is one has been a go-to streamer for me for a long time on lakes, still waters, rivers, the whole lot. And it's proved itself time and time again. Very simple Zonker streamer, and can be tied in many variations, but this is one that's particularly worked quite well for me. So in the voice there, I have a Duhaku streamer hook size 8. Now I can tie this down to a size 12 WSL, size 10 SL, or even if I was doing micro minkies, I would tie it on probably a 302 Duhaku hook as well if I was doing small ones. But this one's just size 8. So putting on a bit of Kevlar thread. First thing I'm going to add in is a bit of light bright red metallic dubbing. Okay, Spirit River from I get it in from Hairline. Spirit River have this stuff, and it's lovely stuff. Going to tie in a little tail there. So I basically took a pinch out of the bag, tie it in the center, fold it back, and trap it down. Of course, when we're doing streamers and stuff like that, you know, we're making sure everyone's well trapped in. They're going to get an awful lot of abuse. They're going to get a lot of plucks and pulling and stuff like that from fish that are chasing. So it's worth making sure everyone's really well secured in. Okay, in order to secure in our Zonker, I'm going to use some monofilament. So here I got 0.12 Shogun, just an old spool of stuff that I'm not using on the river anymore. And I'm going to tie that in. I'm going to tie that in there. Tie it in up the hook. Leave a little bit extra of a tag. Secure it in well. And I said we tie everything really well. Fold it back, that tag end, and tie it in again on top. And that basically stops that. When you finish, when you're tying in your minky strip, that's going to be the rib. That's what's going to secure the minky strip into place. And if I didn't loop it back over, with chance when you actually go to tie that in and use a bit, put a bit of tension on that, that can slip straight out from underneath that Kevlar thread. So always loop it back. Okay, so once I've got that in, I'm then going to start with my body. So we're using Spirit River metallic dubbing there. This stuff is really easy to dub on, quite long, as you can see. So I tend to just break it a bit finer, tease it out a bit. And then we start dubbing on. We don't want to dub down too tight, we want it loosely on, because I do want to brush that out and get that up into the wing when I get to put the wing on. And start winding it up the body. So you can tie this in many variations. This style of a Zonker or a minky. You can use pearl there in the body. You can put you can put a dub in there. You know, this style of Zonker that we're tying here now at the moment is you can do plenty of variations, and it works everywhere. Like I've had fish on rivers with this. I've had fish on bank venues. I've had fish on Mask, Corrib, Loch Lean, Loch Ool, anywhere like that. I've had plenty of fish on this. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is add our Zonker. Now when it comes to Zonkers, they come in a multitude of colours. Like there's just a ball of them there. You can see multitude of colours: barred, natural, dyed, bleached and dyed again. Lots of different colours. You've got squirrel Zonkers. You've got rabbit zonkers, you've got hare zonkers, you've got mink. Mink is probably one of the better ones. Can be a bit hard to get sometimes, especially good minks. Good mink zonkers. We actually have managed to source some, and we got some coming in over the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that. But rabbit seems to be the most go-to kind of zonker and most popular, being sold in shops and stuff like that. Now rabbit can be fairly dense as well. It can be quite large and dense, as you can see by this particular zonker here. It's very dense, and well, it's ideal for exactly what the one we're doing on a size 8 now. But if I was using a smaller hook, or what I'm going to be doing in the next 2 flies, you're going to see we're going to have to break that zonker down a bit. Yeah, Aidan, you can put a bead on it to get it down if you want to get down to deeper water. But this particular pattern, what I like about this particular pattern is I don't put weight on it, especially for the rivers, because I wanted to catch those microcurrents. And I find sometimes that, yes, it is metallic silver Tony O'Regan, that I find if I have a weight on it in the river and I'm fishing a fast intermediate or something like that, and I wanted catching all those microcurrents as I'm stripping it back up along just above the bed of the river, sometimes I feel a bead can just make it a bit dead in the water. So I tend, for the river one, I tend not to fish a bead, and I use a sinking line, or put the rod tip down in under the water, put the rod tip right down to the bed of the river and strip, and then wherever level the rod tip's at, that's the level the fly is going to fish at in a river. So I feel it just gives that bit more movement in fast water when I'm fishing on the rivers. On lakes, of course, get it down a bit faster, stuff like that. You can fish a bead, but you can also fish them weightless. And this particular pattern has always proven to be more successful for me weightless than it would with having a bead on it. So anyway, we're going to do a bit more talking about breaking down zonkers and different types of zonkers when we move to some of the other flies. It's a bit more crucial. But for this one, I don't mind tying in that heavy rabbit. So just basically take your zonker strip back and tie it in on top of the hook there to bead. Now I always tie it in and leave that little stub there for the moment, okay, because if you tie it in, trim that off, clean it up, there's a good chance by the time we get this fly finished, we're either going to pull that out, we're going to pull that hair up and stuff like that, and there's a good chance that could pull out. So just leave that on there for the moment, keeps it nice and secure, and till we get going on it, okay? I normally tie them in long and then trim them once I see them tied in. So I'm just going to trim the skin just to roughly around where the tail end. So just get my scissors in there and just trim away that skin, leaving a kind of nice natural end to the zonker strip. So it's about 1.5 times the length of the hook. Now, of course, one of the key components about tying any zonkers, or hey Connor Cagney's on there, hope you're keeping well. One of the crucial things about tying any kind of zonkers as regards in relation to get it to fish, you need movement, okay? You need movement, so we need long tails. When we're tying a single hooked zonker, I know we'll move on to snakes and stuff, and we'll talk a lot about movement and flappers and things in a while. But when we're tying a single hooked zonker, you know, you are going to get tail plucks. Okay, and it's just practice from fishing them. You keep pulling them till you lock up. Sometimes stopping them dead in the water will help locking up. Every day is different, but you do need that bit of movement. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to moisten and stand up that hacker like so. And then that just allows me to rib it in and get it secure using our monofilament. Take your mono. I don't recommend using wire for this. Monos is far stronger, far better. And putting good pressure there in the butt. Make sure everything's sitting on top of the fly. Start winding your way up. And you see, once you've moistened it, it's quite easy then to divide the fibres and get that in there. Get that mono in between, so you're not trapping down any of the fibres. You're not having hardship by things getting caught and pulled to the side. It's quite easy just to work your way up that body. And that secures that zonker in really well. So if you're getting tail plucks and stuff like that, and off follows and chases, especially on rainbow fisheries, you want to be able to, you know, the fly wants to be able to take that little bit of pressure with those plucks and stuff. So having a well ribbed with a good strong mono means that when you pull in that fly after a couple of hits, you're not just left with a hook and a load of dubbing on it. So once I get up to the eye of the hook, I still have pressure on that monofilament. I'm just throwing a couple of turns of thread over the top of that mono. Once I happily got it secured in, I then put the pressure back onto the thread and really secure that. And we're using that Kevlar, so we can afford a lot of turns there to really make sure that's a good strong. And now we've got a good strong. Now we've got a good. Yeah, Trevor, it's a great lake pattern. Yeah, really had a lot of success on this one over in Oul and Lean over the years. Used to be a real go-to fly for me up in Adair, not Adair Springs, Curragh Springs as well, actually. But fry feeders, yeah, that's basically back in the 70s in Colorado, a man by the name of Dan. Anyone give me his second name? I was just reading up about him the other day. Dan. My God. In the 70s anyway, Colorado guy, he was the man. Hi, Michael Dwyer. He was the man that came up, that started using zonkers basically as for trying to imitate fry feeders, to catch some fry feeders. Very successfully he was too. So anyway, once we've got that done, we got that far. Anyone shoot over his second name there? Someone can figure out to me. That's bugging me now. And now we can trim that off. Just tidy up the head a bit. We still have another bit of work to do. But now we can flip that fly over, and we can get in our finer points of our dubbing brush and brush out that lovely metallic dubbing. And I said, get it up into that wing. And when that's wet, those little flecks will be up into that wing, and give it a lovely little flicker. As you can see, it's starting to come out there through it now. That's quite a robust dubbing as well, that metallic stuff. That's that one. That's it, Byford. Well done. No, sorry Dave, not Dan Murphy. Darren Duffy, Byford. Good man, Darren. So, once I've got that done, then I got some crinkle flash here. And I'm going to add in a couple of strips of this on either side of it. So I'm just going to take off 2 or 3 strips of this. Tie them in on one side, loop them over, and tie them in on the other side. Once I've that done, then I go back to my red, wherever I left it. Red metallic dubbing. Anybody see that? Where the hell did that go to? It was right in front of me. Still is. Here it is. So, go back to my red. So basically, Byford got some fry imitations in from New Zealand. He owned a tackle shop up in Colorado, actually, and he got some fry imitations in from New Zealand, looked at them, and he tweaked them a bit, and basically what he did was he put his anchor on them, and that was the beginning of our zonkers. So we're tying in a holographic red head on that. Again, nicely loosely dubbed. We don't want to tie it. Couple of turns there over the top of it. And then again we're going to stroke that back out. So that's almost like, you know, like a kind of a mother head to it. Brush it out really well. And don't forget, same as every other week we've been tying, I'm going to ask a question in the morning based on tonight's fly tying. Some random question. Whoever answered it correctly firstly. Graham Lanigan won last week. He got himself a nice little box of flies. Wins all these flies and any flies that I've tied today in relation to these flies, practicing or looked at. So that is one of my basic zonker patterns. Probably my go-to. If I'm fishing, and you know, there's a saying there when you're lock style fishing, and bit of whip finish there. Finish it off, good tighten up there. Sometimes I'll put a little eye in that. Sometimes I'll put a small little red. Sometimes I'll put a small little red glued eye in that, just with a bit of Bostik all-purpose adhesive. But you can try that one if you want. But I do like that natural look, or that finish that's on that one there now at the moment is very successful. But if you're out in a lake and there's a change of weather, someone told me years ago, changing weather on a lake, you know, put up a zonker and fish will just smash it. They will just literally smash it all day long, and it's proven a few times to me that does work. But there's a great Neil, yeah, Trevor Rainbow Trout will hit him very hard. So you need to have a good grip in that left hand to and set that hook, especially if you're on sinking lines. Neil, is the type of hook super important? Yeah, it is in a way. It depends on. That's a size 8 streamer hook, and it's quite a long zonker as you can see. It's quite a long fly. It's not bad. Like I do tend to tie them on the 10 SL or the 12 SL a lot more. It certainly wants to be strong and it wants to have a very sharp point. Um, that's the kind of type of hook. It needs to be a strong hook because they do hit it. They hit it quite hard, especially rainbows. So I'd fish a purpose hook for it kind of in a way. Say Drahaku SL 12 or 10 is fantastic hook. You're going to see me tying on those ones now in a few minutes. That's the streamer hook, and that's pretty good too. But that's a cracking pattern, guys. That's you see that thing move through water. It'll move really well. Good quality rabbit. Zonkers, we have them all downstairs in the shop. There's some really good stuff down there and really good colour. So check them out. But lots of movement, lots of flash. You got that red in there, the red end of the butt, silver body brushed up through, the bit of flash going through it. When that thing is wet, it's just devastating to fish. Definitely my go-to standard zonker pattern that we can use. Of course, not all of them are competition friendly, not all are venue friendly either. Some venues don't like snakes and stuff like that, so make sure you always check out the either competition rules or the venue rules, and that the kind of zonkers or mickeys or whatever you're using are allowed on that day. So there you go, very simple little streamer pattern. Really, really good movement and not too complicated to tie. Okay, that got us off the ground running. So going to just move a bit of stuff here now for a second, if you just bear with me. Make a bit more space for the next one. And one thing with zonkers and all this kind of stuff, there's an awful lot of mess that comes with it. And I need to see where I'm going to move on to next. So next I'm going to do what's called a flapper. Now you got loads of different types of, you got bunny leeches, all that kind of stuff, and they're all, every day they have their own, any day they can have, they can be on top, like, you'll get more fish on a bunny leech than you will on a snake or on a flapper or stuff like that. So there's lots of different variations and lots of variations in colour. So it's all about trial and error. I think one of the most key important things that I've ever learned is that get the right depth. If you can get the depth of the fish and put that fly into that kill zone and keep it in there, you have every chance that they'll come and take it. Then after that, it's colour and movement. So by the way you strip, by the line you're using, be a sweep line, a DI, or a fast glass or a floating line, whatever it may be, getting the right level, getting the right movement on that fly is the key to catching. And when we're talking about movement, well then, just a flapper that's exactly what it's designed to do. It moves, and it moves a lot. So that's what we're going to tie next, is a flapper. And for the flapper, we are going to use, we're going to use a size 10 SL by Drahaku. I'm looking for a bead. I'm going to put a bead on this one. Well, this is probably not something I'd use on the rivers. Well, it's not. It's something I've never tried on the rivers. Maybe someone has tried them out there. By all means, if you have, give us your feedback. Use it a lot on stocked venues because of the movement and stuff. So it's one definitely worth having in the box. Again, multitude of colour combinations and stuff like that. This is one of the ones that has worked again best for me over the years. And there's a thing I should just mention as well. Someone asked me there during the week, how do you remember all the patterns and things like that and blah blah blah, do you just tie them out of your head, or are the actual patterns that you fish and stuff like that? They are all patterns that I've fished. I've been fishing since I was a very young lad. I've been tying flies since I was a very young lad, and I've been doing it not just randomly at weekends and stuff like that. I pretty much live, eat and breathe it 7 days a week, and I do a lot of reading and research and stuff. But no, I just have a great memory. Just have a great memory of patterns. Pretty much if I come across a new pattern when I'm abroad, move the cans now, Tony. Yeah. I'm on the good stuff tonight now. Sparkling water. And basically, if I'm abroad or if I meet somebody or someone's generous enough to give me a fly, I tend not to fish with it. I tend to put it away if it's worth keeping. If it's a personal pattern to that person, and they give me a pattern. I have a big chest downstairs in the fly tying room, and all the original patterns get stored into that. There must be 1,000 flies in it. From all over the world. I kind of write a little note on it maybe and say this is from Italy, 1999 or 2000, whatever it may be, and that's kind of my go-to for pattern stuff like that. But I don't like everything I tie is something I've either fished myself or I've been shown and I've got permission to actually do videos on it and stuff like that. But I just have a good memory. I can't remember, there's lots of things I can't remember, but I can certainly remember fly patterns. So that's something I forget quite easy. So to start off the flapper, we're going to put in a tail here. Now again, there's loads of different ways of tying flappers. So Alan Kenny's just on there, and he said, yeah, he's fished the flappers on his local river, and they do take the trout do take them. So that's great to hear. Good man, Alan. Never fished on a river. Fished more the standard kind of zonkers and stuff like that, woolly buggers and different things like that. But I must try a flapper now on it. Yeah, definitely know that they have their place in a bank angler's box. Hi Robbie, how are you keeping? Robbie is on there. Good evening to yourself too, sir. So basically what this stuff is Flybox UV Polar Chenille Purple Red. Okay, and see a lovely fleck in that. That comes in several different colours. I use the silver and white version, silver and UV version, actually from my silver dabbler tail. Those of you that know it, I think I did it in the previous lockdown one evening for you. So basically I got a bit of a tail here, and I'm going to tie it in the length of the shanker hook. Now, if you were doing a cat, you don't always put a tail down the middle. For this particular pattern, I do, but you don't always have to. Sometimes it's just a chenille, two flappers out either side, and away you go. And it's important too when you're fishing your different zonkers and minkies and snakes and all that, you know, to break up that retrieve, vary the retrieve. While you're working through your different depths, you want to be, you know, long slow pulls, fast pulls, you know, really varying the retrieve, figure of 8 then into 2 fast pulls, whatever it may be, and you're working all the time trying to figure out what way the fish want that pattern coming. What I've got here then is I'm using this is Razzle Dazzle Rainbow Chenille from Vineyards. Lovely stuff for doing the likes of bodies and stuff like this. Not too bulky. You can use a Fritz there, but sometimes some of the Fritz can be a bit bulky. This is actually quite light, but still holds enough presence to make a significant contribution to the fly. So I'm going to tie in some of that and start winding up the body. And as I wind up, making sure all those lovely little coloured fibres are all brushed back to get the maximum effect out of it. Now say if anybody has any questions or anything they want to shoot by all means do. I just want to say hello to somebody. Next week we start off Nymphin November, a whole probably 4 weeks based on nymphing, all European nymphing techniques. We'll be discussing it, we'll be doing some patterns. I have a bit of a schedule rolled out. I'll perfect it a bit over the next while, and I might put up a bit of a teaser there to give you some idea what we're going to be covering each week. And it'll be a good week. Lots of techniques to talk about, rivercraft, reading rivers, fly patterns, materials. I'm going to bring up my setups here, and we're going to look at setups and different things like that. The leader setups I use, the rods, the reels, the whole shebang. We're literally going to cover everything that I can think of in Euro nymphing for 4 nights, so make sure you check it out. And again, I'll be putting all these videos up on YouTube the next day, so this video will be up tomorrow on YouTube, and so too will all the Euro nymphing ones from Nymphin November. Okay, so here we're going to put in some black flapper. Okay, now this is one of the points I was telling you about as regards rabbit. Okay, so most of the rabbits you tend to get cut is in around 3-4 mil. Now that's fine. It's, you know, for some people find that quite good. For me, I like it to be a little bit thinner, so I like it to be in around kind of the 2 mil mark. Now, in order to cut that, it's quite awkward. You can try put it on a steel ruler and slice it down. I've tried it. It's next to impossible. You'll damage the skin, and what you'll end up doing is you'll get breaks off. First trout that hits it will break it off. The way I find it best to cut this, and I'm going to try and explain it as best I can, is that holding it directly towards me, I brush down the piece that's on my right hand. So I'm going to try and get a bit closer to the camera if you can see that. So it's kind of awkward for you to see. But basically what I've done, I've folded it back to one side, laying it across my finger like so, folded it back to one side, and all the hair, the rabbit hair, is now down facing into my hand, and only the skin is sitting up here on the top of my two fingers. Okay, I can then take my scissors and I can start cutting in half. Now I know I'm cutting some of the hair, but the hair that I'm cutting is not the hair I want to keep. The stuff that's folded down into my hand is the stuff that's going to remain on the piece of the zonker that I want to keep. And I can cut off a mil or 2 mil and tin that thing right down. Very easy. And not be left with big ball chunks down the middle of it. As you can see, as I'm just working my way down, folding it down to the hand, moving the scissors up along, cutting that skin directly in half, getting a nice 2 mil zonker. There's the one that's damaged. That we'll cut off. As you can see, quite narrow, quite sparse, too sparse for what I like right now at the moment. This is the piece I want. Nice thin strip. Still plenty of hair on there to give it a significance, but now that's going to have a hell of a lot more movement as a flapper. Okay, if that was the big bulky full 4 mil strip, especially with the quality of the hair that's on these strips, it's very dense, and you're just not going to get the same movement as you would if you got down to a 2 mil strip. And I've tried every way over the years of cutting minky strips. That is the easiest way of cutting minky strips. Okay, fold it over, face it down the hand, just cut the skin straight down the middle. Yes, you'll damage one side, but that's fine. That's the one going to the bin anyway. You can keep that bit of hair and bit of fluff off of that. Makes really good dubbing. There's black rabbit dubbing. Place it up there, tying some nymphs and stuff like that, or dries, fantastic stuff. But when you're cutting rabbit skin, especially for the likes of flappers, and we're going to have to do it again now for our snake next, it's important to cut them down. You'll just get an awful lot more effect out of the fly. Okay, so once I've got that done, just holding everything back, place the hide up to the fly, up to the skin of the fly, and I want it just kind of on the side but slightly up, if you get what I'm trying to say. On the side of the fly, but slightly up. Okay, and again, just like the last zonker, I'm not going to cut away or tidy up that little bit of a stub of hide there. We're going to leave that on there. That's a little bit of security. We're going to leave that on there for the moment. Secured in well. I then cut it. Cut the hide back to the length of the tail. Like so. Now you can have them longer if you want, but for myself, this is kind of, for this particular pattern, this is I'm quite happy with that length. I then go to the other side, slightly up, and repeat the same process. Just leaving a little stub of hide. A couple of really good strong turns. This is where Kevlar really comes into its own, really locking in that hide there, making sure that's the only security you have there, is that, making sure that that's not going to be plucked out by the first fish that hits it. Cut the two hides the same length, so I'm just going to trim that one off. Just slide the scissors in there on the hide so we don't cut any of the hair away. And now you can see what we've got. We got our 2 mil zonker strips either side, and you can see that nice bit of flash coming through. So when them zonkers are wet, they'll kind of pull together a bit when you're pulling them. As soon as you stop, they'll fan out, and that little bit of flash and a little bit of colour inside will be exposed, and hopefully any chasing trout at that particular point will pounce on it. So leaving on those two little stubs there. What I do like to tend to do at this particular point is I will add in a little bit of super glue there. I'll put a bit of super glue in there because there's not, and I'll be pretty much fairly sure that that's not going to give way. But nonetheless, for my own peace of mind, I just put a little dabble of super glue in behind that bead on those two little bits of hide and the thread that I left sticking out, just to make sure. A little bit of super glue on a little bit piece of glass or plastic. Use your dubbing needle. Pick up a droplet or two and just get it right in there on that particular point. We don't want the super glue to flow back, so don't try and pour it in with the nozzle or anything like that, because if too much lands there, that hide will soak it up. It becomes very brittle and very stiff. Yeah, Trevor, yeah, brownies in early season, absolutely. Yeah, they would, especially that black one, I'm sure. Yeah, definitely. Or if we do ever get a chance to get some winter fishing in this year, um, it will be a very successful once again. Now just with my thumbnail, I'm just kind of manipulating back those two stumps, getting them to tuck in there behind the bead of it. Just tidying everything up. They're all well solid in there now. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of peacock dubbin. I have it here somewhere. There we go. Bit of black ice dub by Hairline. Like this stuff. And I'm going to just put a little bit of a dubbin. Getting that overdressed or over spun onto that thread. Nice and loosely. Another small little bit. That super glue will hold all that there too. Another little bit of dubbin. And then just whip finish to cover all the threads and stuff. There we go. Good strong pull, tucks everything behind the bead. And as usual, my trusty dubbin brush. Brush out some of them nice peacock fibres. And I can tell you one thing, if you went down to Ned Maher's or up to Jono's in Laois Angling Centre with that flapper, I'll tell you one thing, you'll have a sore arm coming out of it. Fantastic pattern, has worked a treat over the years. Thanks Johnny McGar. Has worked a treat over the years, and you know, not complicated to tie. You know, a couple of crucial things there I'd be suggesting is look at your zonkers. Good quality zonkers are very important there as regards to, you know, the meat that's on the skin. How dense is that fur? So when you trim it down, you're still left with quite significant fur strips. But you know, putting in two 4 mil ones there for me is a no-no. That's me personally. If someone else has a way tying them and they work for them, absolutely fantastic, rock on. But for me personally, I like those skinnier zonker strips for the likes of flappers and stuff. Much more movement in them. Don't overpower the fly too much. When they're wet, they're sleek, and they will move like crazy. Any trout that's following that in, he's definitely going to have a go at. Say most important thing is get the levels right, get the retrieve right, the fly line, and you'll certainly have a great chance. Thanks, Trevor. So, moving on. What we're going to do now is move on to a snake. Okay, get asked a lot about snakes, and not competition friendly, but nonetheless very effective for stocked fisheries, for lakes, wild browns. Again, there's like any zonker. I'm just tidying up here while I blabber on for a bit. Like any zonker fly or minky fly, you know, the colour variations are endless. You know, you've seen what zonkers, you can see on going to our website, see the range of colours we have there. I said we got some really good mink coming in, zonker strips very soon. Definitely check them out. I'll stick a post up on Facebook when they come in. They won't last too long. Good mink is hard to get. Mink is probably the best of them all for movement. The skin and the fur is so silky. But rabbit is the most common one at the moment for most people. It's easy enough accessible, and it's you know, you get your mix of colours. You experiment them. Everyone has their own favourites and stuff like that. For me, when it comes to snakes, the white snake, black snake are probably two of the most. Darius says Dennis Goulding's working tonight, so he might be seeing this tomorrow if he looks at it tomorrow. Darius, so yeah, flappers are. They can. He's going to like that flapper. It's a good flapper. We have all that stuff in the shop, by the way, guys. If anybody wants any of that Fritz or metallic dubbins, zonkers, it's all in our web shop. Check it out, scaryfly.com. You'll get it there. Just sorting myself out here now and thinking, because there's a lot of stages to this fly, and we want to tie it and tie it right, but I want to also explain all the different reasons and why we use what we use. So first thing we're going to do is tie in our our back mount, and for that I'm going to use a blob size 10. Now again, yeah, Gianluca says it's not like me to be on the water. Yeah, I am. I just, Yeah, no, just yeah, not on the booze tonight. Um, maybe later on. We'll see. We'll see. Don't want to be making too many mistakes on here as the night goes on. For the Christmas special, I think we'll have a couple of beers anyway. At least that's going to be a great night. We've got some great plans for that one. Really have. We've been putting a lot of work into that already, and that's going to be a cracking night, lads. So some random night over Christmas. You'll all get plenty notice. Definitely won't be a night when anything's happening. Not there's lots going to be happening this Christmas, but we'll all come together for a couple of hours. Probably, well, we might do a 4 hour show or something. Bring on some guest hires, bring on some people all over the world, and have a chat, a few questions, bit of fun, and at least have one good night together out of the Christmas. Potentially, we could be still in lockdown or whatever. We just don't know. So, but we're going to plan a really good Christmas night. Lots of giveaways and stuff like that. I still got two tickets here to give away from Mount Juliet. Still trying to figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to give them away to somebody tonight. They will be given away by the time I finish this fly. So stay tuned, and that'll be something to look forward to next season. Is that fly? Okay, let's move on to a snake. So basically, a snake is a double hooked fly, but we cut away the front hook. Most people know what a snake is by now, or have seen them. There's a multitude of ways of tying them. Yeah, Neil. Neil has just asked a question there about selling a pack for what we tie for this week's show. I have myself and Mark have spoke about it. It is something we should have had done by now. We've been asked a lot of time, and most days after on a Sunday or a Monday, I'll get a phone call or messages and lads will say, "Hey, put me together a pack of whatever you tied for them flies last night, will you?" But yeah, look, it's something we might get onto this week and get it done. We've got a whole winter this coming. This is not just going to stop after an infant November. We're going to go into Christmas. We're going to head on into the new year. After Christmas, we're going to start getting ready for the new season and stuff like that. So, Tom O'Connor said, yeah. So I think watch out for this week. I think we're going to try and get on top of it this week. It's that time of year when tax returns and VAT returns and everything have to be in, so it's been a bit manic in the shop trying to get all that lovely stuff out of the way. But might try and get a couple of free hours this week. I'll put up what I'll do is I will put up a category on our website, and basically it will be titled live shows, something like that. And if you click into that, you can go back to week one and click on the materials that we have for week one, week two, week three, week four, and in that will be a pack of all the materials. Obviously, they'll range in price as usual. I'll try to keep it as keen as possible I can for our customers. And you can go on, you can buy that pack of materials, and then you can go back and watch the live show on YouTube and copy all the materials. And within the next week or two, we'll have caught up onto the live shows. And what I'll do before the Christmas live show is about 2 weeks before or a week before the Christmas live show, what I'll do is I'll put up what flies I'm going to be tying that night for the most of it. There will be some guest tyers on, and I'm not even going to. That's going to be a surprise what those guys do. But for me, I'm going to tie a couple of flies that night, and what I'll do is I'll put up a pack at least a week or 2 weeks prior to that show. So whoever wants to get it before the show, and they can have it there on the night, and they can sit and tie away with us at the same time. So we're definitely, Neil, working on that. And it's something I probably should have done by now, but unfortunately I just haven't had the time. And with all the restrictions in place, it's been hard to get time for everything, especially at this time of the year. So basically what I've got here is a blob size 10. I like using a blob hook. It's a very strong hook, size 10 or 12 in the back of my snakes. Good strong hook, short shank, good fine deep gape on it. Other people like to use different hooks. That's absolutely fine. I'm not saying this is the way it has to be done. Use whatever you're used to. Use whatever you have confidence in. This is just the way that I do it. Now, attaching our mount here is crucial. Okay, this is a real important part. When you're attaching a mount, it's got to be secure. This is what's going to hold the two hooks together and give that fly. No worries, Neil. I'll give you a shout. I'll put up a post on Facebook whenever I manage to get that done. So just before I do the mount, I'm going to add a little stubby tail in there. I like a little hot spot or a little trigger point at the butt of that snake. And basically what I think that helps with is the snake is so long, when he's chasing it, it will be the little hot spot that he'll hit. And right where that hook is. tiny little stubby. Don't want it too big or mad. Just a nice little stubby. That's Glow Bright number 11 there. So once I've got that in, then I will move to the mount. Okay, so what I use for the mount is I have some old braid. Okay, old back and braid there. Not sure the diameter. It's probably around 20-25 pound breaking strain. Quite strong, white. So if I'm doing black zonkers, if I'm doing orange, using orange zonkers, whatever for my snakes, I'll colour the braid in whatever way I want. Obviously, if it's black braid or green braid, you can't colour white. So a bit of old white braid is really handy to have for this. And it's very supple, which is very important too. I see some people tying with monofilaments and stuff like that, heavy monofilaments. Not a good idea. It's a bit too restrictive, I find. We want this thing to move and wave in the water as much as we can with every stroke of the line and the movement of the tip of the rod. So a real supple kind of braid helps. Even when that gets wet, it's going to get an awful lot more suppler. Okay, so I've got a couple of inches there, quite long at the moment. Probably don't need that length. Don't cut it too short on yourself just yet, because you'll find then that you've trimmed it off too short. Okay, now I've seen people attach this in loads of different ways. You can tie knots. You can tie a knot on that hook, and then the eye of the hook prevents it from slipping over and stuff like that. I've seen people just tie it directly onto the hook, wound it on, and say it'll never come off. Maybe it won't. I don't like to take that risk. So I go through the eye of the hook, moisten up a bit, get it through the eye of the hook, leave a bit of a tag end out the back, make sure you have enough out the front, and then trap it up underneath that hook. Bit awkward with that in the way, but look, we'll get over that. And I say, if you have a way of doing it that you have confidence in, by all means continue to do it that way. This is just the way I do it. I catch my tag end here. Hang on 1 second now. Get another couple of turns on it down. Keep the tension on the thread. Catch that tag end you left sticking out the back. And then wind back up. Keeping that one on top. Secured in well. And that's not going anywhere. Plus with braid, flattens down quite well under the pressure of the Kevlar and stuff like that. And there you go. That's not going anywhere, okay? Oh man, Luca's saying he's well advanced. Yeah, I've been seeing some of your posts on social media, Luca. You've been flat out tying, fair play to you. Wish I was as prepared as you. I even see Darius and everyone. Jeez, I'd be looking at you all and seeing how many nymphs you've tied for yourselves. My God, I haven't. I think I'm still back in March of last year with the stage of what nymphs I have. Way behind. Okay, so for the zonker, I'm going to use white zonker. This is our own zonker again, Scary Fly zonker. We have it downstairs. Really good dense. Really good dense zonker. But again, like most rabbit strips, it's around 3-4 mil. Okay, so I need to trim it back. So I'm going to do exactly what I did with the black. I'm going to trim off a little excess piece. And this is bright white, highly UV. Absolutely some of the best white zonker I've ever had the pleasure of tying with. Not just because I'm selling it, guys. It's absolutely fantastic. Really bright. As you can see, there's a real nice bang off of that when I put the pen in it. Lovely stuff. So basically what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to place it across the back of my hand like so, and I pinch down and I stroke those fibres down into the cavity of my hand, exposing just the hide, and all the good fibres that I want to keep are now trapped inside the fingers. And I just get my scissors and start trimming down that hide. Again, knowing I'm cutting away some of the hair, but they're coming off of the side I don't want. So that's okay. The piece I do want is trapped down between the fingers. And again, you can tie in your zonkers, you can tie in your zonkers to full 3-4 mil. I don't find them as effective as a skinny. And most of the guys I know, comp fishing, always like a 2 mil strip. A lot more movement, not quite as bulky. So there you can see the piece that's going to be dumped. Chunks missing out of it, now that's fine. Here's the other piece, and I stroke it down, clean it, Take out all those cut pieces, that's fine. It's a little bit of dubbing we're going to be using now in a minute. Clean all them back. And now I've got a lovely 2mm strip of Zonker. Trevor, yeah, a lot of people, they are very controversial and they're banned in all Phipps Moose competitions. There's some leagues and stuff that still allow them. But you know, when you're pleasure fishing, there's a lot of people that would say that nymph fishing is no better than worm fishing. You know, it's everyone to their own. It's a fly tying style is very popular. It's a fly that's very popular. Very few bank anglers you'll see travelling around that don't tie in, that don't have some kind of a snake in their box. And it's like the squirmies. A lot of these things, you know, they do have a lot of controversy. Squirmies. I know there's new stuff out there now, mini squiggle worms. And they say the best way to tie them bloody things on is just super glue them straight onto the hook, thread them up onto the hook, no thread, no nothing. I'm all for catching fish, like, but you know, it's yeah. Look at it, it's all controversial, but nonetheless they are popular. They do work. They do catch an awful lot of fish. And whether you're pulling with a snake or pulling with a zonker like I told you earlier on, or pulling, you know, wet flies, they're all fished in a similar manner. So basically what I've done is I've just exposed the last little bit of a hide, as you can see. And I'm just going to let that hide just go back a couple of mil, maybe quarter of an inch, a little over an eighth of an inch, back over the hook, the bend of the hook, and just leave that little tag in there. I want that hook sitting back as far as I can, basically, on that fly. Expose the core, the hide, a couple of nice turns in there. Get that well trapped in. Take that and just fold that back. These things are always awkward to get in there. Now I'm going to take a little bit more weight dubbing. Now you can put a little bit of pearl flash in there, a little bit of spectra, stuff like that, into that body section there if you want. I just use a bit of white rabbit that I've trimmed off. Again, just working whenever hanging around. Add in another bit. Yeah, happy enough with that. Now you can, and probably will, take back over me rabbit. Just moisten it again, the same as we did before. And I'm just going to lock that in on the head of the hook as well. The one thing I do know about working with white rabbit is, and I didn't do it before I did this one, and I can already see some of the effects, wash your hands beforehand. Wash your hands before you do it. Have a little bowl of water, something. You just give your hands a quick rinse, wash them. Oils and dirt off your hands from touching hooks, beads, all that kind of stuff. When you're playing with that and moistening it up and then massaging it back and all that, you will, Dennis Gould, hey Dennis, you're on. I thought you were working tonight, Dennis. You will get dirty and you will take that real white shine off of that pattern there. So I just do a couple of whip finish turns there. Just pull out the zonker up through your yoke and just a couple of turns there just to secure that in. It'll be fine. You will dull that white, the real white intense colour off of that. I've also found fishing bank venues before. I don't know if anyone else has found this, but you know, you put up your white just that works. We might do a squirmy maybe during the nymph in November. But and there's a fair bit of tying in this. In all fairness, now it's not a fly that's doesn't have a lot of tying in it. But I've often found on bank venues too that as soon as I put up the white zonker or the white snake or the white minky, that, you know, you'll get a fish in the first cast, maybe second cast straight away. But then once that zonker gets dirty, you know, it's not as effective. And I've often found myself that I'd bring 5 or 6 with me. Hey Dennis or Darius, but I'd often bring 5 or 6 with me, you know, and then as soon as one gets a bit dirty, especially in venues over the winter months, if that fly gets down into the muck, there's no way it's going to be as white as it is when it comes off the ice or when it hits the water for the first time. So we make sure, you know, keep your hands clean as well. You want nice clean white zonker going out there. So once I've done that section, that's our back section done. We then move on to our point section up at the top, up at the eye. So for this, look, let's use whatever you want. A good strong hook. I'm going to use I'm going to use a 10 WSL, fine strong hook. And the reason why I'm going to use this hook is because that large eye up there, okay? Because I want to put that braid through that eye and still want to leave plenty of room there for mono. So we're going to be cutting it off. It's not there to catch a fish or anything like that. It's just there to create the top mount for this fly. Okay, so now I'm going to go back onto the Kevlar. Get again a good secure base on that. Robbie Berry, is this your own design or is it a standard way of tying this type of fly? Would it be familiar with these types of fly? It's wouldn't say it's my own style. Loads of people tie snakes. Everyone has their own colour combinations. The way they want to do them, the different weight to put on them, the different way they put in their flash, if they put in hot spots, if they tie them just pure white, whatever. It depends on the venue, it depends whatever. This is just a particular pattern that's worked for me. The style of actually tying is pretty much generic. There might be a few variations along the way of the way people like to secure in some different components and stuff like that for strength and purposes, but this is the way I do it. And it's a pattern that has worked for me. If you're into your bank fishing, it is a pattern that it is a style of fly that will work, that will catch a fish. I say most bank anglers wouldn't be without them. Now again, say Phipps Mooch competitions, not competition friendly, but for an awful lot of winter leagues and stuff like that, they are, or a bit of pleasure fishing. At the end of the day, when it comes to bank fishing, you're going out in the winter months. While you want to get out for the fresh air and enjoy the scenery, you also want to bend that rod. So I'm tying a very long bit of Ryan Quinlan asked the Kevlar. I use that Kevlar for everything, absolutely everything. Pretty much. There's an odd time when I switch to tying train threads and stuff like that, but I use that Kevlar. Just got so used to it over the years, can't use nothing else. It's just fantastic. It lots of turns into small spaces. It's non-absorbent. It's super strong. You can't break it. Splits easy. If I want a colour on it, just colour with a marker. Been using it for years now, and just absolutely love it. And I find it very hard. Taking an awful lot of convincing to go away from it. And it's super strong. Your flies, your nymphs, and everything like that are just. I find them so much better, so stronger. There's so much I can do with that I can't do with other threads. Really, really good stuff. Okay, so now we're going to take, so I just tied in a long kind of sparkly tail there, and I want that to kind of sweep back under the back mount. I'll trim it all up afterwards in a little while. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my braid, and I'm going to fish that through. So I'll cut up there for a second. Get it through that eye. I brought a threader with me, so I might as well use it. Bit frayed at the end there. Put your threader up through that. And the hook. Go through that much easier. And pull it back through. Now you can see if I was using a smaller eyed hook, I wouldn't have quite as much room there. Now getting the positioning of this and the distance of this is crucial. Sort it all out here now for a minute. So basically we want our braid to be tight and a small little bit of slack in our zonker. So whatever measurement you want to give it now. So you can go short, long, whatever you want. Okay, but just make sure that when you're tying it in, at this particular point you're only worried about the braid. So stretch out the back hook and get that braid nice and tight. You don't even have to worry about that zonker for the moment. Okay. Stretch it out till you get it exactly what length you wanted for that. Fold it up underneath. A couple of turns there to trap it in. Stretch it back again so you're exposing as much of that eye as possible. That braid has gone in, and then trap it down really, really well. And it's never going to pull through then on you. Make sure you cut off the right end. Don't cut off the end that's going back to the back hook or back mount. So once we got that in, we're then in a good position then to mount our, start our, so in around that area where you're going to be putting a couple of turns of thread to secure that. So I'm holding the back hook quite straight now and putting a bit of pressure on it to make sure that braid is taking all the pressure. So when a fish hits that back hook, it's the braid that's going to take the pressure of the fish. There's no chance of him snapping. If I was to do it a bit more like that, as you can see a bit of slack there, you can see that zonker moving as I start to put pressure on that back hook, well then that's when it can snap, and you'll snap that zonker. The fish will snap the zonker. So make sure the braid is at full stretch. You're putting a good bit of pressure on that now. A full stretch. Release a little bit of pressure off the zonker. Hold that position. Expose the hide and just get a couple of turns in there. And before you go too mad heading on up the fly, just double check everything. I don't want the zonker to be madly loose all over the place. I still want it when it's a full stretch to be nice. And I'm pretty happy with that. So what I can do now, a couple of turns out the back here. I know I can go back to that bit of rabbit I have left over from Strimmers down. Yeah, it is great stuff, guys. Yeah, Robbie Berry and Alan Kenny on there. That Kevlar is fantastic stuff. I love it. So it just has so many uses in so many ways. And then it doesn't break. You know what I mean? There's days where I could be sitting. Think today, I was sitting at the device at 8 o'clock this morning. Finished up around about 5 o'clock this evening. Non-stop, getting some orders out the door and stuff like that. And you know, didn't have one break. Didn't have one break, and I've really rough hands from years on the buildings and tricking around outside and stuff like that. And it's a nuisance because, you know, if I'm using normal trade, it frays an awful lot in my hands. So the Kevlar just doesn't do that for me as a tyer. Personally, it's just I just can't use nothing else. I always have real rough skin in the hands and stuff. Now, so going to catch that zonker now. I'm going to pull that over the top. Again, I'm going to expose. I can trim off a little bit that long and into my way. Don't trim it off completely because I don't want to leave myself anyway short. Take off a bit of that. And now, moisten it up again. Exposing the hide right up there near the eye. And tie it in well. Make sure everything's nice and sleek going back to your back hook. And now trim away your waist. Now you can finish the fly at that stage. You can do your work finish, that's unweighted. Or you could have a single bead up in the head of that. Two ones I like to fish: booby eyes and bead eyes. So I'm going to do the bead eyes in this one. Booby eyes, I'd have the booby eyes. I know, Graham, yeah. Not looking forward to the day where I have to go wear glasses, but at the moment the eyesight's holding up anyway. Well, at least I think they look good anyway. Maybe other people think they look as but I think they still look good, the flies I'm playing. So when I'm doing the booby eyes, I would have pre-made booby eyes on a needle, if you all know that. I think Brian Kerr, one of the best men I've ever seen tying boobies, did an article on my blog a year or two ago, and he's a genius at him. He does fantastic ones. So have a read of that. But you pre-make them on a needle and have them all prepped and ready. And now I would add in my booby eyes on top. But a very popular one, this one coming into the winter, would be heading down the road of bead chain. All right, look, go to your local hardware. Get your stopper chains. You know, perfect for it. Get into your local seamstress or kind of sewing shop. You can get white bead chain. You know, get lots of different colours and stuff like that. For this one, I'm going to put on a bit of silver. I'm just going to root out a bit here now. silver, bit of a pliers, cut them out. Just looking for two eyes. And this can be controversial enough what we do here. Some guys tie their bead in on top. I tend to tie it in on the bottom. I think it's just more of a natural look to the fly. It also, I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, the likes of Dennis, Darius will be far superior, and some of the other guys there will be far superior to bank fishing than I would be. Does it make that fly tip a little bit more in the head? Give that extra bit of movement. So that's kind of what I personally feel it can do. So take your fly, turn it upside down, up underneath, don't cover the eye, put in a bead chain. Figure of eighting. Couple of nice turns. Super glue. Have to have super glue for this one. Again, put it on a piece of plastic or glass. Use your double needle to control what super glue you're putting in there. You go to attempt to just put a blob on that, you can be sure, and I've done it. Just put a little blob on it, and next thing half the bottle empties out down into your pants. On the voice, Zonker destroyed, rock solid, start again. So we learn from our mistakes, don't we? At least we're supposed to anyway. So I have that in there underneath now. Super glue will hold it in place. Now you can put another bit of flash on that too if you want, out over the top. You can also, what I see a lot of guys using is putting the likes of pulse fibre. That sort of stuff we have on our website for down the side as anchors. Putting a bit of pulse fibre down the sides. That comes in a good few colours. There's a couple there. Really good stuff. You can put a strip or two strips down over the top or down over the side, and it gives that extra bit of colour and bit of a flap of kind of colour down it. I'm quite happy with that. You could put another bit of that pearl. Where did I leave it? The pearl crystal flash just over the top. But I have a little bit underneath that'll sweep up around a bit anyway. Swims better with the weight below, according to Darius. Well then, look, Darius is as good a bank angler as I've ever seen, so we'll certainly take his word for it. Just 2 or 3 strands over top, that's all. Tie them in. Trim off your waist. And then just to finish it off, you can put in a bit of, if you're using spectre drubbing on some of those hooks and stuff like that, keep it coming through. Again, I'm just going to put in a bit of white dubbing. Small pinch there, just to tie the whole thing in together. Taking her a little bit. I'm here trying to think. I'm not going all silent. I'm actually here trying to think of the question I'm going to ask to see who's going to win these Mount Juliet tickets for next year. Something to look forward to, guys. A free weekend, a 3 days fishing in the lovely Mount Juliet estate. Big thanks to Dan O'Neill there at Mount Juliet. Gave us a couple of free tickets to fish. Got 2 for tonight. Got another few that we're going to keep back. We might see if we get another 1 or 2 off between now and for Nymph in November. But we got a couple for to keep back for our Christmas special, which is going to be a great night all together. Hope everyone can join in. I'll put plenty of notice up there weeks in advance so everyone has time to prepare and stuff like that. So and just while I'm finishing off this lovely snake, just thinking about what am I going to do. So the final thing you got to do with the snake is double hooked. You got to cut off one hook. Using your pliers, moving back all materials out of your way. Get in there and snip off that. Be careful of that hook. Sometimes it can ricochet out of that. Always face it away from you, of course. Safety first. And there you go. Ta-da! Lovely snake. Really, really popular, and has to be said, loathe them or love them. Very, very effective in still waters, and same can be for wild trout fisheries and lakes. Really good. Couple of tips there in tying that one. Make sure the mounts are really well done. Yeah, I like that little spot at the back. You can see that little chartreuse spot there, just sticking out the back, just to give that subtle key target point for the trout. So definitely tie them in a multitude of colours. Go on, Sean. That pliers and me have had a lot of history. That thing is still going. Probably nicked it off some electrician when I was an apprentice carpenter back in the day. But yeah, that's been in my flight time voice for a long time, as you can see. Still works though, Sean. Still works. If it's not broken, don't throw it out. Don't need to fix it. But that's really, really good. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, here's the question I'm going to ask to win the 2 Mount Juliet tickets. I'm trying to think of something a bit different. Now, tomorrow morning, I will ask a question based on tonight. And whoever gets the answer correct will win the zonker, the snakes I tied this evening, will win the flappers, will win the minky strips. They'll be posted out on Monday morning. So be up, be ready in the morning. Thanks, Arthur. So Dennis has just come on there. Thanks, Dennis. Dennis has come on with a bit of information. So if anyone doesn't know Dennis Goulding, he's a well-established and well-recognised international angler, rivers and banks, and definitely a top competitor when it comes to bank fishing. So he recommends from a slow intermediate to a dive 7 is the lines you want to use. Short leaders, retrieve slow to figure of 8, and using roly-polies and like that. So everything depends on conditions. So thanks for that bit of a tip there, Dennis. Much appreciated. Miles Kelly's on from IFI. How you doing, Miles? Thanks for the plug today. Yeah, I don't know, Miles. To be quite honest, yeah, if people do fish them for sea trout, I certainly haven't. I'd say they could work. I wouldn't be a bit surprised they could work. But definitely when it comes to bank fishing rainbows, they're absolutely lethal and a must in a winterman's box. Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate it. So, okay, here's what I'm going to do. What you got to tell me, first person that can tell me how much a packet of rabbit zonkers would cost you on Pescari Fly website. Any colour, they're all the same price. First person to tell me what price is a packet of rabbit colour zonkers, I want it up here on Facebook, and send me a message. First person in wins the free fishing in Mount Juliet. So get onto the website. If you don't know it off the top of your head, you're going to have to scramble onto the website. You can see it's www.pescarifly.com. Check out rabbit zonkers, be it white, black, red, yellow, whatever colour you want, and I want to know the price. How much would it cost you to buy a packet? First person to tell me that gets 2 free days on Mount Juliet Estate. Okay, so I'm going to have blabber on for a few minutes, waiting for Sean Jones, sorry, 350 Graham Long, wrong, 350 Joe Hughes, wrong, €3, Robert Flattery. Robert, well done. Congratulations, €3. Just to prove it, I have the packet here, right beside me. €3. Now, I'm just going to check one thing, make sure the website is €3. Sometimes it can happen. So I'm on my phone here, just double check and make sure I'm not going to get wrong. If it turns out that it is, a lot of people guessing 350s, but I think it's €3. That's what it says on the packet anyway. Is I'll see the packet. It says white rabbit zonker strips, €3. So I'm going to have a look at that there now. Just double check on our website, make sure it is 3. And if that's the case, Robert Flaherty, you have won yourself 2 free passes for 2 full days, thanks to Mount Juliet Estate. And Mount Juliet Estate and Dan O'Neill down there for giving us those for giving us those. So I said the first one to come in was Robert Flaherty. I was watching the big screen here, and let me just go through this here now, just to double check to make sure I am right. Let's see, because we don't want assurance query afterwards. So I'm into the furs here now. I got a lot of stuff on the side here, so it takes me a while to go through it. Hairline micro. Bear with me 1 second now till I find out. Where these are. Going through it here now. Coming up here now. So rabbit zonker strips, hairline micro rabbit strips are $3.50, and rabbit zonker strips, scary rabbit zonker strips are only €3. Great value for very no, it's not hairline, Dennis. Sorry, hairline is no. We do have the hairline mini zonker strips, but this is Biscari Fly. This is our own zonker strips, Dennis. We have a big range of them, and that's our own one. That's the zonker strip there. That's the packet. So €3. Scary Fly rabbit zonker strips. And as I said, Robert Flaherty, I will be in touch with you. Yeah, you did. You bought some, all right, Robert. I will give you a shout tomorrow at some stage, and I will arrange to get that fabulous prize of 2 free days fishing in Mount Juliet Estate over to you. Something to look forward to. Something to cheer up the winter a little bit. Well done and congratulations. And that's basically what I had planned for you tonight, guys and girls. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it passed a few hours. And everyone had a bit of fun. Maybe you might even learn something. But see, the whole lot is just to come together and have a bit of fun. Don't forget our mystery box competition. That is going to be a close one tomorrow. I'm going to give a clue out for that one. But in order for tomorrow's clue to be really effective, you have got to remember the other clues I've given you, okay? Bit cryptic. We're trying to have a bit of fun with it. Get a few days out of it. It is a prize well worth winning, trust me. I put it together. Mystery box, full of lots of goodies in there. Whoever guesses the correct value of that box, what the contents are, retail, will get the prize. We've given out 3 clues already. 4th clue coming tomorrow. I think, is it? Tomorrow's day 4, is tomorrow day 5? Anyway, 3 or 4 clues given out already. New one coming at 9 o'clock in the morning. Make sure you're on, ready to go, because there is a good chance this will be one tomorrow. Bit cryptic again, but if you have all the clues together and you sat down for a couple of minutes, I don't think it should take someone too long to win our mystery box. If you'd like to see that go to someone this weekend, Halloween weekend, and be really great. Other than that, I'm going to ask another question tomorrow morning. I'll do the mystery prize question or clue first thing in the morning at 9 o'clock, and then maybe around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock I will ask the question on something for tonight. Whoever gets that wins themselves nice selection of streamers, zonkers, that kind of stuff. Whatever I tied in practice for tonight to warm up, and the ones I tied here in front of the camera, they will be on their way to you Monday. So lots of giveaways, lots to come. Next Saturday night we're going to start Nymphing November, which is all about nymphing. We're going to cover every single aspect of it, yeah, really looking forward to getting stuck into that. Most of you know it is kind of my go-to method mostly, so a lot of stuff to give out. So make sure you check us out next Saturday night. I'll put up a bit of a plan some stage during the week to give you a rough idea of what we're covering next Saturday night. But that's going to go on for the next 4 weeks, Nymphing November. So by all means, have a great Halloween, everyone. Stay safe out there. Unfortunately, I can't wish you all good hunting because the government have decided we're not allowed to go shooting on Sunday. But anyway, look at your what can we do? We just have to stay safe, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And good night. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay safe.